Hello my friends and welcome to our Bob Anime Games That Is Jason Zone. I'm the Adman, and as everyone keeps on telling me, yes, I know Netflix just put up the second season of Glare Force. And yes, I will do a full and in-depth review of it as well as my general thoughts on this little experiment in adapting a Precure series for Western audiences. Still, before I do that, I wanted to make a separate video discussing a certain topic that I want to go into greater detail about. The episodes of Smile Precure that the Glare Force staff felt did need to be adapted.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the 2 seasons of Glare Force were formatted as though they were going to air on Nickelodeon with 20 episodes each. There is a possibility that they wanted and are still trying to get it aired on Nickelodeon, but for Netflix, it's a needless format, especially since it ends up cutting up 8 of the original 48 episodes that Smile Precure had. In my first impressions video of this series, I brought up the first 3 episodes that were skipped over. In the end, I didn't make a big deal out of it since out of the 3 episodes, I thought only 1 episode was really damn good and should have been adapted. The other 2 were a cooking episode and...
How do Japanese comedians make a living outside of competing in Sasuke? Still, episode quality aside, I do think every episode deserves to be adapted.
And for the second season, they unfortunately had to cut out 5 more episodes. Since I don't want to take up too much time in the actual review talking about material that is simply not part of the adaptation, I thought I'd take up time here to look at these episodes and see if Saban was justified in removing them.
So let's stop by Denari Airport to pick up these forgotten episodes and let them show off what they could have brought to this series. Oh, here they come right now. Okay, so our first forgotten one was a Smile Precure episode 26, Summer Festival, the giant flower blooming in the night sky, right?
As the title suggests, this episode focuses on a Japanese summer festival. The girls take part in pretty much all the requisite activities episodes like these demand, from goldfish scooping, shooting ranges, to eating overpriced confectionery items.
What, no filling your river with cotton balls and killing off random cameramen? Pfft, what a cheap-ass festival.
But yeah, antics ensue when Candy is mistaken as a prize at a ring toss booth, and the monster of the week is an amalgamation of several items typically found at a festival. I'm guessing there were several reasons this episode was skipped. One might be that they were afraid of culture shock stemming from the girls attending a very Japanese festival in yukatas no less. I mean, it is significantly different than your typical county fair.
Puno Carnival, by the way. Come visit Honolulu in February. We appreciate the tourism.
Still, Glitter Force hasn't strayed away from Japanese elements like the 2 episodes from last season where they went to a very close approximation of Kyoto, as though they had actually gone to the real thing.
It's the same difference.
Seriously guys, you could have gone down the Digimon route and just acknowledged that your characters are in Japan. But yeah, I think culture shock might have been a minor issue, but I think the bigger issue was all the damn signs. To this show's credit, they do try to localize as many of the signs as they can so that the audience isn't getting sensory overload from all the damn kanji. The effort is certainly appreciated, especially compared against idiots who just leave almost every sign blank in their localizations. But still, when there are these many damn signs on all of the booths, I can understand them not wanting to wear out their photoshops with all of the edit jobs. While they could have just have said it was a pseudo-Japanese festival like with the whole Kyoto thing, it does help when the viewer can read some of the signs to give them better context to the setting. And while this was a fun episode, it's ultimately filler, so leaving it out is no major loss in my opinion.
The next episode, however, is one that I'm really not happy that they left out. And episode 27, A Summer Mystery, Grandma's Treasure, which is one of my favorite episodes in the entire series.
It's mostly a simple slice of life episode where the team visits Miyuki's grandmother in the countryside during their summer vacation. They encounter Wolfrune, they have a monster fight, it's standard fare.
So why do I like this episode even though it's basically just a filler episode? Because it's the best kind of filler episode. The kind that reinforces the major messages and themes of a show.
At the end of the day, Smile Precure tries to promote all the different ways people can find happiness, with fairy tales, sports, family, studies, and yes, even geekdom.
I've spent my entire life doing nothing but collecting comic books.
And now there's only time to say, life well spent!
Miyuki's grandmother does it through appreciating the simple things in life. Even though she lives out in essentially the boonies, she refuses Miyuki and her family's offers to come live with them in the city, as she is perfectly content where she is now. So much so that when Wolfram tries to harvest energy from any sort of feelings of despair she might have, he gets zilch. All the while, Gray just casually offers the layer-clad werewolf tea. This is both one of the most hilarious and badass scenes I've ever seen in any Precure series. Topping it off, the preceding exchange between the two is just inspiring.
ずーっと悪いことばっかだぞ
生きていればそういうこともあるわよ。
ずーっと真っ暗なんだぞ
天気が悪い日もあるものよ。でも必ずお天道様は昇ってくる。ずーっと真っ暗なんてことはないのよ。
Suck on that, Munakata! So yes, in my opinion, Miyuki's grandmother is one of the best grannies in anime ever. So why do I think this episode was skipped over despite the fact it has a fantastic message that some adults could stand to relearn alongside their children? Well, unfortunately, it goes back to the aforementioned scene. Since Wolfram was unable to gather energy from Miyuki's grandmother, the clock that appears in every episode to count down the arrival of the final boss of the series didn't turn. Yeah, the thing about skipping episodes in Smile Precure is that you'll end up missing out on those once per episode little details. Since this episode avoided that little inconvenience, I think Saban saw this as a workaround while complying with their stupid little 20 episodes per season BS. Though they're kind of ignoring the little fact that this episode came right after the festival episode, meaning that either way the clock would be ahead of where it was based on Glare Force's episode count. This is why I thought I needed to make a special video for this, because stuff like this really pushes my buttons.
Thankfully, though, they didn't skip 3 episodes in a row, and we can instead move on to Smile Precure episode 33, which was then followed up by episode 34, which was also skipped over. God damn it. Anyway, episode 33, a period drama at the movie set.
As the title suggests, the episode focuses on the girls acting in a period drama with some minor liberties. Yeah, the whole episode feels like one giant inside joke towards Toei and its tokusatsu films.
Appropriate considering the head writer of the show has written for several tokusatsu shows, including Kamen Rider. I never said he was a good writer.
Anyway, the episode itself is nothing special. About the only notable things about it were Pop's human form that he only ever uses in this episode, and the final reaction shots from the girls as they watch the completed movie that remind me of a certain meme. Otherwise, I have to question how a director can scout 5 middle school girls to be in his movie. I'm guessing this was cut because, again, it was mostly inconsequential filler that had a lot of Japanese themes and mythology that some might not have been able to follow.
Got just a couple left. Next up is episode 34, United as One, Miracle Fashion Show at the Cultural Festival.
Which, as you might be able to guess, is a cultural festival episode with the girls putting on a fashion show for their class.
Guys, I think you got the wrong Precure season. This is the fairy tale theme season, remember?
Anyway, the main conflict of the episode came from one male student who didn't want to participate because he wanted their class to do a band performance instead. The episode ended with them, of course, compromising and combining the two into a fashion show with a live performance. Again, cultural festival episode, it's pretty much written in stone that they include an insert song near the end.
Oh, cut to the song, it's getting boring.
I'm guessing the reason they skipped this episode was because of that little musical montage. For Glare Force, they could have commissioned Blush to make a new song, but I guess they didn't want to spend the money, so yeah, their call. Again, an episode that's not a major loss, though I do recommend looking up the insert song from this episode.
Last up, we've got episode 36, Hot Blood, Akai's First Love, which is... oh no. Oh. The requisite Gaijin episode.
Or at least requisite by Toei's outdated sense of humor. The episode is about Akane falling for a British exchange student named Brian Taylor. She makes several attempts at confessing her feelings towards him, and while she fails to do so, she does share one final, kind of heartwarming farewell with him before he has to head back to the UK. Still, I legitimately believe Toei just has a fetish for throwing in a Caucasian or an African American as a one-off character in their shows. Now, of course, I'm not against them bringing in foreign actors, What I am against is how much they play up the fact that they're foreign. Here, they go through a whole montage of Akane and Brian touring the school, with Akane having to correct him every time he misinterprets something. It's not funny and kind of facepalm worthy at times. Now granted, Brian isn't the worst gaijin character I've ever seen in a toy production. No, that honor goes to...
Hey, you たち、オフィシャル君たちね。ぴったりのファルフェイスね。なんですって
There are a million and one jokes you can make about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you just focus on the fact that they're foreign and have funny accents. And that's another thing, those annoyingly thick accents that they make the actors put on, even if they can speak perfect Japanese. Here, they brought in Tetsuya Kakihara, who was born and raised in Germany, and did learn English while there, though his English still sounds off here, and he sounds really unnatural with that accent. I should not have to say that the guy who voiced Simon sounds like a total tool! The episode by itself isn't bad, and Akane is kind of cute here, and her final dash to the airport to say farewell to Brian is pretty well animated and emotional. But again, I just want this stupid cliche to fade away already. If they had adapted this, I guess they would have made Brian a stereotypical Brit, but in these more PC times, I don't think that would fly, so I can understand them skipping this episode. And honestly, I'm kind of glad they did. Because the last thing I'd ever want to see is like maybe some stereotypical Hawaiian dude and...
Please enjoy your meal. 次
Screw you, toy.
Okay, I'm sorry I said that episode 36. In fact, I'm sorry to all of you episodes. None of you deserve to be skipped over just so that Saban could conform to some arbitrary episode count. Perhaps one day you'll get your own English adaptations, maybe in DVD form.
That is, if Glare Force proves to be successful. Will it be worth your time to check out on Netflix? Well, check back here for the full review.
Right now, I gotta make sure that these guys get safely back home to Toy. Which, by the way, you guys are paying for the taxi fare, right? Guys? Hey, wait!